So here we go on the next Smyth Performance New Beetle Ute build. I spent about 4 hours taking out the rear seats, stripping all the interior, taking the hatch off, the two bumpers and the rear fender, rear bumper cover. It all comes off as one piece. It took me a little bit longer than normal because the fasteners were really rusted and I had to actually vice grip some of them. So that's between 4 and 6 hours. The biggest chunk of time in that stage is getting these rear windows out. You can just break them. That's a lot faster, but then you're gonna spend an hour vacuuming up glass and you get glass everywhere. So I didn't want to do that. I used my oscillating tool. That worked out pretty well. There's several techniques. Anyway, I've got it all marked up. Let me rewind. If you're gonna try this, I highly recommend a Bentley's. There's an awful lot of hidden fasteners, and this is the book that will tell you where to find those hidden fasteners, how that rear seat comes out, how that dome light comes down, all that stuff, where the wires are hooked up. Every single wire I unplugged, I learned this on the last one, is now marked. I'm pretty good with VWs. I'm like, oh, I'll recognize those connectors. And yeah, when you have 15 of them together in a bundle, it can get confusing, especially when you have the CD player and the amp, along with all the lights. So every wire got marked. So we're ready to go to the cut. I've got it marked across the top, and I know my line down here. So we're gonna cut the top off and then start carving the turkey there to cut it down, and then we'll get to building. So at about the 4 hour mark, should be able to get it cut tonight, and then tomorrow I can start building the bed. These next cuts you want to be a little bit careful with. We're going to take this skin off, and all this is skin. Behind here is the B-pillar. We're going to keep that because that's great structure. So you're basically going to take this edge here, come right down, leave a tab about 1 inch up, and you can always go back and cut more off. And then up this edge here. So you can pretty much stick a blade in and cut right down and then come back here. Millions of different ways to cut it. The way I'm doing it is just because of the tools I have. I really like the nibbler because it leaves a nice even cut. But the Sawzall is fun and quick, but it leaves a little bit of a raw edge that now I've got to go back with a sanding disc, take the burrs off, and then I'll rust treat it. So I'm gonna drill a hole here so I can get started with my blade, or maybe even take a cutoff wheel. I think I'll use a cutoff wheel to get this started. Stick the Sawzall blade in and come down, drill a hole in each corner where I can fit the nibbler in. And you want to try not to make a sharp corner. If you can drill it first so it's a rounded corner, that relieves the stress point. You can always go back after you get all your cuts done with a sanding disc and a rotary bit and round out any 90-degree corners or any sharp corners, which is a good idea. That will relieve the stress. So let me get the cutoff wheel and we'll get started here and get the nibbler out and hack this one off. So that's pretty good. Sorry. That's a pretty good first day. It might take you 2 days. I've already taken one apart and I've already done these cuts once, so I kind of knew where I was going. But it can be done in 1 day. Now I'm going to go back over all those edges and just smooth them out a little bit and just with my air tool, and any 90-degree corners, round them out, and then I'll treat it with some anti-rust, some heavy-duty paint, anti-rust, like Pour 15 type of stuff, and let that cure overnight. And tomorrow I can work that wiring harness and start on putting the aluminum bed together. And we may have an aluminum bed sitting in here by close of business tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Please hang up and try again.